Gage is actually cheering. He's so excited for this.
Anytime Matt's on, it's going to be fun. Anyone who sticks on for an extra 5 minutes, Matt's going to do some stand-up.
I had the pleasure yesterday of listening to Matt coach. If Matt's coaching, I'm on. And not you laugh, you cry, you take a look at yourself and see where you can do better, and you laugh again. It's an emotional journey, you guys. Make sure you're sitting down.
Chad, how's it going?
Oops.
Recording.
Looks like Matt's having some audio issues. Can you hear me, Matt?
Are we listing all of his issues or just one at a time?
No, just the main one.
How about now?
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Nice.
How's it going? How's it going?
Incredible.
I'm gonna mute myself. You guys have looking forward to this.
Yeah, Matt's gonna bring the fire today.
What are we talking about again?
Not you.
I'm just kidding.
Talk about Matt. Happy December. Happy December. We've got people joining in loads right now.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but your elf on the shelf was supposed to come out of storage last night.
We'll have a elf on the shelf for Max next year. He'll
What's going on, everybody?
Donald, how's it going?
Going. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Excited.
I'm super stoked. I got an appointment at 12, so this should be good. A little pregame.
Yeah. Shouldn't take more than, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. Matt, how long do you think?
Usually 6 hours is my go-to stand-up routine.
Perfect. All right. So we got a 6 hour stand-up show.
Classes in session. This is my future producer, Everly.
There we go. Future little cold caller right there. You give it
Start them young. Start them young.
Give another 2 minutes for people to keep dripping in, and then we'll get started here.
So I made the mistake of buying Gage one of those popcorn buckets, you know, they make this time of year with the 3 popcorns in it.
Yeah.
And just asking for a friend, can a toddler survive on popcorn only?
They're actually very nutritious. A lot of bodybuilders eat a ton of popcorn for the protein.
Yesterday he had popcorn and 5 apples. So I'm basically killing parenting.
All right. Got Nate coming in. All right, everyone. We're gonna get this started so that we could get everyone out of here and get their December off to a hot start. Anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Victor. I own Insurance Growth Workshops. Behind me, we're doing free workshops pretty much every week. Try to have every week for you guys, bring you guys as much value as possible. And one of the great things about this is we have really cool people like Matt over here, who's going to be, giving out some incredible content for you guys. So I'm going to hand it over to Matt, let him introduce himself real quick and get started. I'm going to put everyone on mute so that he can just roll right into it. At the end of his presentation, we'll leave a couple minutes open for Q&A. We want to make sure you guys have any and all questions answered. And then we'll get on with the rest of the day, right? So Matt, it's on you.
Perfect. I gotta go to the bathroom. You gotta hold on for a second. I'm just kidding. Well, guys, I know you don't have
Oh, muted Matt.
figured it out. Can you hear me now? Give me a thumbs up.
You're good. You're good.
Okay,
I
perfect.
muted everyone and I accidentally muted you as well.
I was like, and I'm talking like it didn't seem like I'm going anywhere. All right. So guys, we're gonna talk about senior centers, like senior centers. I worked at a place where I had 0 leads, but all I was supposed to sell was Final Expense. So I thought what a great way it would be to just go into a senior center and say, man, I talk about Final Expenses. And you can imagine how that went when I was like, hey, I want to talk to all the people that live here about dying, right? That went horribly. That was the dumbest thing I've ever done in my entire life. But what I did figure out is that they do need activities. They do need things to do. So what you can do is, and that's going to sound crazy, but if you Google senior centers near me, you're going to find all different kinds of not assisted. You don't look for assisted, but independent living centers or senior centers near them. And what there's somebody in that office that is called an activities coordinator. You want to look for the activities coordinator. You can walk up to them and say, hey, my name is Matthew, and I want to do a lunch and learn for your center, for your people. I'm usually pretty booked out, but I do have time next month, right? You want to make yourself seem busy. And their job, just so you know, is to fill the calendar every month with things to do for seniors. So they're actually looking for people to help them do things. So it would be very smart if you go, hey, I have time next month. I usually do it on Wednesdays. What day works for you? And look at their calendar with them. And normally they're going to find a spot and they'll say, well, what's it about? Right? So I always say it's a lunch and learn. I'm going to talk to people about how to save money on common household bills. Because who doesn't like to save money other than senior citizens? And I'm also going to talk about funerals, and I'm also going to talk about Medicare, right? So who wouldn't say yes to that? Someone that needs someone to come by, give something to them to do for an hour, provide lunch for these people, and educate them on some things. Now, the important part is you're setting it up a month out, which means it gives you time to prepare, right? They'll usually ask, well, what do you want me to do for you? I say, I'll go print out a bunch of flyers. You just stick them under the people's door, let them know the time and the date, and just remind them over the PA the day before and the day of, and I'll be there at 12 o'clock on January the 15th. That's when I'll be there, okay? But the most important part is the actual presentation, and this is where the nuts and bolts are. I use a lot of psychology in everything that I do, but I'm going to teach you some super powerful psychology. And I did it a little bit when I was inviting people to this workshop. I said I'm going to be handing out some cash or one-on-one coaching. So what does that do? When you say cash, everybody perks up, okay? So when I first go to this senior center, you don't want to be the person that just goes in and go, hey, everybody, I'm here to talk about final expenses and Medicare, because they've had 1,000 people come in there all the time talking about the same crap, right? And they don't want to hear it anymore. It's really weird, Victor, that you're like the only person on my screen, like super huge. So I'm like, looks like I'm just talking to Victor. It's fine, but it's just, it is what it is. But you don't want to be the only person, like you're the only, like everybody else, like, hey, I'm here to talk about final expenses. They're just there for the meal, okay? So you don't want them to be there for the meal. It's not a lunch and learn. It's a learn then lunch, right? You're going to learn and then you're going to get lunch. Meaning after I talk, you're going to get your meal ticket. You can make a meal ticket. It's like a coupon, right? You're going to get a meal ticket and that's your meal ticket, but you got to listen to me talk first. So when I get up there, I say, look, guys, I know this is supposed to be a lunch and learn, but this is a learn then lunch. So we're going to learn first. It'll take about 15 minutes and then we're going to eat lunch. I'll eat with you because it's good stuff. I brought pizza, I brought apples, I brought all this cool stuff. Then they go, okay, great. Now they're forced to listen to you. But guess what? Some of them aren't going to listen to you. They're just there for the free lunch, right? So how do you get people to pay attention to you? It's my little friend called cash. Okay. So I don't talk about, I'm my first meeting. You missed a whole lot, April. We just did the whole presentation. I give about $100,000 out. You missed everything, but cash is most important. Okay. You're talking to senior citizens. Money is tight, right? And I usually do my presentations at the end of the month. Why? Because they don't get paid until the 3rd of every month or the 1st of every month. So when I show up on the 25th, the 26th, the 27th, the 28th, they're looking for a free meal. And guess what? Cash is king, right? Cash flow is king, Grant Cardone, but cash is king to these people. So when I talk to them, I say, look, who is for $1? Who is the head guy on Walker, Texas Ranger? Can anybody answer that question for me in here? Raise their hand. First one to type it out gets $10. Who is it, Kathy? First one to type it out. Walker, Texas Ranger. Who is the actor? Important. Chuck Norris, Chancellor Strickland gets $10. All right. I'm going to send you $10 after this, Chancellor. Right. So now what does that do? Now that I'm giving out cash, more and more people are starting to pay attention. And I go walk over to that person and I put $1 in their hand. So whenever you put $1 in somebody's hand, now the rest of them looking up like prairie dogs, right? They're going, what the hell is what this guy's giving out cash? I thought this was supposed to be a free lunch, right? So now they're paying attention to you. Now I'm asking a little bit tougher questions, but it's kind of like, what are those called? Trivia. What's another question that you can ask that everybody, who's one of the 3 Golden Girls, or an easy question like that? It doesn't matter what the question is. You just want them answering, because now everybody's raising their hand. You got to go, look, you got to raise your hand, right? Now people are raising their hand. You give that person $1. You do about $5 worth. And then you say, okay, now I got some real questions for you. Who can tell me how whole life insurance works? Right? And this is a $5 question. Now the money's getting bigger, right? Now everybody's like really wants to get, people are raising their hand. It's good for your whole life. Great question, Mr. Here you go. Here's $5 for you. Can anybody tell me what term insurance is? Right? Oh, it's good. Excellent strategy. Yeah. You are waiting on the next question. Can anybody tell me what term insurance is? Oh, it's only good for a certain amount of term. Oh, that's a good job, Miss Jones. Here's $5 for you. I've given out $15. Yeah, toilet paper. You can do anything you want, Karen. I don't know about Medicare stuff, but cash is king. It's things that they need. Food, groceries, whatever. Stuff that they could use. I'm giving out cash for final expense. You got it, Karen. You're a genius. But when I start giving out this stuff and I give higher and higher dollar items, people start paying attention more. And then after a couple of those, I hold up a $50 bill and I say, can anybody please explain to me how universal life works? And I hold up this $50 bill, and it's usually a worn $50 bill. And I say, look, I've held on to this $50 bill. I've done this thing 1,000 times and nobody's gotten it right. I haven't given out this $50 bill once. Guess what happens? Everybody tries to answer, right? They're all involved, right? They're going, it works like this, it works like this, but nobody's going to get right, because guess what? Not a lot of people actually know how universal life insurance works. So guess what? When they don't answer that question, you go, look, guys, you almost had it. I knew I'd have to never get this $50 out, but I'm going to put it back in my pocket. Maybe the next people will get it. And now you start explaining how universal life works. It's like term and whole had a baby. It builds cash value. It's a lot of face amount for a little bit of cash, but eventually, once the premium goes over the suggested amount, it brings out of your cash value. So it's kind of like a roller coaster. And they're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? So I explain, then I really start educating on how insurance really works, how whole life really works, how term life really works, what the problems are with those things. And eventually what you'll find is, and say, has anybody had this situation happen to them where they had a term life policy or they had a policy and all of a sudden it went way up on them and they couldn't pay it? And somebody in that crowd's going to go, man, that sure happened to me. And then someone else go, that happened to me too, Kathy, or that happened to me over there, Sandra. And now they're talking amongst each other and they're talking about the problems that they've had with insurance, right? Everybody's had a problem at a senior level with insurance at some point. And I go, look, guys, this is what I'm talking about. People don't know how these things work. Okay. I can fix it. This is all that I do. I'm going to block off my schedule for today and tomorrow. This is your opportunity to sit down with me. If you don't sit down with me today and tomorrow, I can have one of my assistants come out here and do it, but usually people request to see me after they see me speak. So I'm going to block off today and tomorrow, and we're going to eat, and we'll book a time for me and you to stop by, and we'll talk, and we'll get this done either today or tomorrow. But today and tomorrow are the only days that I can do it. You got to set yourself up as this is their opportunity now, what's fresh on their mind, because the longer it goes on, it's always going to be like, well, I'll call you back, or I think I know what I have, right? Today is the day. Here's the other thing. This is a 2-person thing. I do not do this solo. Why? 2 reasons. I got one man guarding the door, like Ray Lewis at the goal line, right? He's guarding. You're not getting out, right? Did you set an appointment with me? No, right? So I'll make that person say I brought Victor. I'll be like, Victor, I don't normally do this, guys, right? But Victor, can you block off my schedule for the next 2 days so we can only, for these people, because I like them, they've answered a bunch of good questions. They need help. Let's block it off for the next 2 days. We're going to go eat. Everybody, here's your meal ticket. Victor, can you hand out the meal tickets? And as they're going to get their plates, I'm walking around, sitting down with the people, and I'm sitting down with them. I'm going, man, it felt like you really had some good questions, and you had felt like we got a connection there. I'm going to go ahead and block off my time for, what time is it now? You're going to be done in about an hour? How about in about 45 minutes? I'll come up to your apartment and I'll come speak with you. Okay, great. You book the appointment. You can book up 75% of the people that are in that room with that strategy alone. Strike while the iron's hot. Let them know that this is their opportunity. Get them engaged, and you can close every single deal. Now you've done your presentation. You've shown that you're the person that knows how to work insurance and talk to insurance companies, right? I teach them, have you ever guys try to get on the phone with your insurance company and you get some guy, overseas that you can't understand, and you're just trying to figure out what's going on in your policy? I know how to navigate through that. I know what buttons to press on each of these companies and get to the right person to tell you how much cash value you have, to tell me how much your reduced paid up is, to tell you if your term's going to end in a couple of years, to tell you these problems. I know how to do that in less than 5 minutes. So when I come to your house, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get on the phone with your insurance company. We're going to go through those things. We're going to review your policy. We're going to make sure you're in the best policy. It'll take less than 5 minutes, but we got to do it today or tomorrow. When you set it up like that, you've done your presentation. So when you come into that house now, you've already directed the traffic. They know you're the person. You don't have to do a warm up because they already know who you are. I can walk into Sandra's house for the scheduled time. So, hey, Sandra, pull out your policy for me. She goes, great. Okay, we're calling that company. I'm doing my presentation. I'm writing a new app. You can write an app in less than 15 minutes doing that. Medicare, I don't know how that works. I think there's just like a Sunfire or something like that. PNC, I don't have any idea how that works, but I'm a final expense guy. But if you do it that way, you set the stage that the time is now. You get them involved with giving out small gifts, dollar gifts, toilet paper, whatever it is. People want things. Here's the real secret. After you've helped people, right? These senior communities, it's a revolving door. Well, it's not revolving. People are going to die, right? People are constantly coming in and people are constantly dying because that's just what it is. There's always going to be new people in there. So every 3 months to 6 months, when I get done and that the iron's hot, I make sure I involve that activities coordinator. So look how much fun we're having. I need to do this once every 6 months because I know you're going to have new people in here all the time. They go, yeah, that'd be great. When can you do it? And you can start setting yourself up for reoccurring one of these every time. But here's the trick. When you set up the next one, a couple days, you come in early and you meet with the clients that you helped. And you say, Miss Jones, I need your help. I'm doing another lunch and learn, and I'm going to help people. Remember how I helped you? Yep. Great. I need you there, and I need you rooting on my side. Right? And now Miss Jones is out there with her bingo arms, right? Hooting and hollering for you. And guess what you do? I take a picture with that client. I get it framed. And when I'm doing the next presentation, I say, look, this isn't my first time here. I've done this before. Miss Sherry, come up here real quick. And you bring her up here. Now she's someone that's been in that community for a while, that's been there for over 6 months. People know who she is. She brings her up to the front and you present her with a picture of you and her cheesing like this, right? Now you're the grandson or the granddaughter in that house. And those people want to be a part of exactly what she just got. People want to be they know you as the insurance person, and you want to be the person in that community. So you can take over an entire community by doing every 6 months, being involved, actually caring about your clients, like making sure you're doing the best thing for them, taking pictures of them, remembering who they are, give them love and kisses, have them root for you. You know, Ms. Jones, I'm coming over for dinner tonight. Last time you didn't get me dinner. I'm coming over this time. Like, you got to be the person that people gravitate to. And if you're the person that's constantly giving out cash and toilet paper and the small little knickknacks, people absolutely fall in love with that person. So just learning how to give, right? It's like, it's biblical, like give and it'll be given to you, right? Luke 6:38. I can't remember which one it is, but it's one of those. But just give and it will be given into you. You can do one of these for less than everything involved, 125 bucks. One application, guys, will take care of everything. One application. But I'm telling you, if you do it correctly, even if you take another person with you, Victor, like would be my guy, we would close $7,500 in final expense, $7,500 to $12,000 in AP, just in a day or two, and you can absolutely crush it.
So for these type of events or presentations, how many people do you typically expect to show up from these events?
It depends on the thing. 12 to 20.
Okay.
And it really just depends on how big the senior center is, but you generally you want to do anywhere between 15 to 20 people is usually what you and one other person can handle. Because if not, if you get any more than that, 25, 30, 35, you got to have like another Ray Lewis, like kind of blocking the door, right?
Do you recommend creating like scarcity, like we're only taking X amount of people from this event, which might lead into another second day of doing it? Do you know what I mean? For people.
No, I create scarcity as in today and tomorrow are the days. Like I'm usually booked up, but I'm gonna cancel all of my other appointments that I normally have for today and tomorrow for you guys, because
so you allow as many people into the presentation as possible.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
As many people as possible in the presentation. You get them in with food, you bring them food and they will come, right? They're coming for the food, but they're going to stay for the entertainment. They're going to stay, they're involved, they're engaged because of the cash, they're engaged because of the things. Can I break down exactly? Yeah, about 80 bucks for food, and then another, whatever the different amount is for food and or cash to give out. You can get a couple pizzas, a couple gallon of teas for 80 bucks to feed an entire community. And the rest is either the gifts from Medicare or cash if you're giving out cash.
Do you have any more to the presentation, or do you want to do Q&A right now?
I'll do a Q&A, but that's basically the presentation. I just go up there and I'm just me. Like, can I make you go up? I just tell jokes. Like, to be honest, it's the same thing that I do on here. I just get up there and like, just be me, make people laugh. And eventually they're like, oh, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. Right. When you're doing a presentation, it's like eating a potato chip. You give them just enough to make their mouth salty and make them want more. Right. So I give them just enough Matthew that they need more. I've contacted places. Hang on. He's asking a question. I didn't read that.
Yeah. Actually, we've got a couple in here. So let me just go in order before it gets pushed all the way out.
Yeah.
So the first question that I see here is from Jordan. How long are the appointments for each client typically? After you've already got, so about 30 minutes. Okay. And then
I tell them it'll take less than 10 minutes, but I'm booking it out on my calendar for 30, just because
the conversation's going to go.
Yeah.
Longer. All right. And then so how do you decide what places are worth going to?
I go to any independent living facility.
Independent living. Okay.
If they're assisted, that means they've got Yeah, they've got like dementia and other things, and I'm going for people that will actually qualify for final expenses.
Okay. And then Sherry says, are you doing e-apps or paper apps?
I'm a paper app guy, but that's because I'm country, but e-apps are just as fantastic.
It's from LA.
Yeah, from LA, Lower Arkansas.
All right. And then Kathy is making mac and cheese, so hopefully she's bringing for us too. Okay, you answered the 125. So I've contacted places. Jordan says, I've contacted places. They want an email sent first. What should the email say?
Don't email.
Don't email. Just
Don't
roll
email.
up. Just roll on in.
You just roll on in.
Okay.
I'm telling, they can't say no to the
Once you're
guy
there.
that's in front of them, right? Right. That they're trying to, what they're doing is trying to gatekeep you, right? They're like, you call them, you're like, hey, I want to do this thing, and they're like, maybe not, right? Or like, oh, just send an email, and then email gets lost. But like, if you're there and you're going, hey, this is what I do, this is what I'm good at, this is the thing, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for you. It's not, can I do this? It's, I'm going to do this for you. Let's find a time on the calendar for me to come in. And they'll find it miraculously right then. But if you send an email and you send a pigeon and a smoke signal for them to get back to you, look,
given too many opportunities to say no.
I have been called a whole lot of things in my career, but I have not been called back once. Right? That's a funny joke. Y'all write that one down. Well, they're saying they're very, yeah, Jordan, I'm telling you, they're saying they're very interested, but they need an email, is because they're trying to gatekeep you. Have you tried walking into that door and saying, hey, my name's Jordan?
And you guys can unmute yourself. You don't have to keep everything in the chat. You can unmute yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just had it in the chat for while he was still presenting, but yeah, if you guys have questions, just unmute yourself and ask away.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, yeah, okay. So, and I respect that a lot. That makes a lot of sense. Well, just the position I'm in, I had my assistant to just call a boatload of places, and then now she got like just what 10, 15, however many, to say like, yeah, we're interested. That sounds like a good idea, but shoot us an email. So, I mean, even though I definitely respect what you're saying.
If I were to do an email, sorry to cut you off, I know what you're saying. Like you have somebody else kind of doing the front end for you. If I were to do an email, I would structure it like this. Hey, we spoke on the phone. I'm spitballing here, so this could be completely wrong. I've just never done it that way. Hey, I spoke to you the other day. I want to do a lunch and learn for the people in your community. It generally takes an hour. I've got time on this day and this day. We're going to do a lunch and learn. I might give out some gifts and some cash. Definitely going to have food there. When's the best time for you guys?
Okay, so you just keep it that simple. All right, that's all right.
If you overcomplicate, the more people ask questions, the more people try to get more out of you. It's like a senior citizen trying to, like, anytime that someone is asking a different question, I put them right back on track. Like, here's the track that I'm going on. This is exactly what I want to do. And when they're trying to go off track, I'm going, yeah, but you need to be back in this track. I'm gonna go, great, that's great news, but I'm gonna bring you right back to where I want you. You get to direct the traffic because it's your business. And so you're directing the traffic. Like, this is the end goal, which is booking an appointment or for me to come out.
With the not the gatekeeper, the other person, your partner that you bring, how do you deal with splitting business? Do you just do like a 50-50 split, or do they take some of your appointments?
Just split it.
All right, so are you talking to them because they want to talk to you since you're the presenter? Does the other person talk it off?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can be there. I'm going to bring them with me. Hey, he's here.
To the appointment?
To the appointment. I say, hey, Jordan's here. He might be filling out the paper while I'm doing the talking. Basically, because I'm not a good looking guy, I say, look, you just listen to me and look at him. Okay, because they're way better looking than I am. And that's how I do that. But
would you see any also, are you an advocate against them having their own appointments?
No, but if I did the presentation, I wouldn't want them to get appointments out of it. I want the full split business. I mean, if you trust the person to go do it, you could do that. But when you're setting it up like this, you want it to be like you're the highlight of that, like you're the star, right? So when I bring Victor, like I would actually have Victor come in first and be like, hey, like kind of like he did, like, hey, I'm going to introduce Matthew. Like, here's the things that he's done. Like, here's how many people he's helped last year. Like, here's how much money he's saved people. Like, you guys are really going to want to hear what he has to say. So when you walk on, you then put on that show and people know that Victor wasn't lying. You want to be the star of that show. Now you can say during your presentation, like, hey, Victor is an extension of me. He's better looking than I am. He's not as smooth talking, right? But he is just as good when it comes to insurance stuff. So you may not have me, but me and Victor today are going to take care of this. So if you trust somebody to do it, then go do it. Just make sure it's somebody you trust that's going to split all that business with you.
Okay, that's probably one of my last questions. Do you feel like you can, I mean, like, can you just cut out leads and just do this? Like, what's your thought process on that?
I'm always a big proponent of leads. I did this because I didn't have leads. It is tougher now. Once you build a network and you've got a good system down, eventually you can get to where you're not needing leads. Eventually. But this might take you 2 years to build up a network where you're doing 3 to 4 of these a month, like clockwork. But
Okay.
you got to set it up first.
Are you okay with doing it like on the 15th? I know you said the end of the month is best, but is the 15th and earlier in the month okay?
Yeah, you can do it. Any time is fine. But the psychology of them not having money at the end of the month is usually the best time to do it.
I thought that was genius. Okay, thanks, man.
Yep.
So Matt, since there's so many rules with Medicare, would you change your direction and do these kind of presentations for final expense and then try to get Medicare out of it later?
Yeah, because what I understand from the Medicare, because I don't understand Medicare because I don't have my license. So bear with me here when I say this.
Yep.
From what I do understand is if you have a final expense client, that is your client, and then you can then talk about.
Right, that's true.
Right.
Yeah, so I was listening to this. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm going backwards. Yeah. Everybody does want to talk about Medicare, but
everybody does want to talk about Medicare. Yes. I'm just a final expense nut. That's all I know. So
yeah, but they need this too.
100%. 100%. Yeah. I'm just a final expense guy.
Yeah. So like we could back into the Medicare by doing the final expense first.
You got it.
Okay. Yeah. Everybody teaches to do Medicare and then go after final expense, but it's probably backwards.
Medicare. Okay. I'll tell you this. Final expense is the gateway, or as Victor called it, the bridge to Medicare.
Okay.
It is the true path to good Medicare sales. Most people, I've yet to see a really good Medicare agent transition to final expense, but I've seen so many final expense agents transition into Medicare, because when you're selling final expense, don't take this the wrong way, Medicare people, you're a better salesperson because you're asking for bank accounts. You're asking for like all the, like what Medicare is it's like they have to have it. And one, it's more of a service, but final expense is a sale. When I come to sell you final expense, before I leave that day, you're going to write me a check, which means I'm going to add on to your bill. Right. And Medicare seems to be the opposite. So when you take someone who has been selling the final expense way, and then transition them into the Medicare where it's more of a service, it's like, I've got some badasses. But I've seen a really tough time of like Medicare people who have a tough time with final expense because they just don't, they're like, man, why isn't it as easy? Well, you take a person that's really selling final expense who's like, doesn't take no for answer and get them into Medicare, like they absolutely crush it. So you're right.
I agree with that because I have trouble with final expense.
Yeah. Is COVID protocol an issue at all? Manuel, I've never had a problem with COVID. If someone's like, hey, we have like a COVID thing, I'm like, okay, well, we wear all our masks and, just like change ticket, only if you let it be. But if you don't allow it to be, then it won't be a problem.
Hey, Matt, do you partner with other agents as well? So example, you go in, you're going to sell Final Expense. You've got me writing the Medicare. Do you have Victor reach out to them about their PNC? Like, are you coming in being all things insurance?
I usually go in as again, I'm trying to be the star, so I'm all things insurance. Should you partner with somebody who sells PNC? Yeah, but normally I'm going in as like, I'm the guy. So if I ever get to a point where I'm like, hey, like, I can farm this out to Victor, like Victor knows how to sell PNC, like you can probably save some money on your PNC too, Miss Jones. Like I'll have Victor reach out to you and just tee it up for him. But usually life and health go peanut butter and jelly, so we can knock everything out in one house. But again, I'm just a Final Expense guy, so I've only ever done this for Final Expense, but I'm assuming you could do the exact same thing for Medicare.
I got a couple more questions. I've talked to other people and they've mentioned about they had a strategy of doing raffles. So what they would do is like they pass out little such and suches, and it'll this gives me permission to talk to you, and it'll get the information like that. What's your perspective on that?
Same thing that meal ticket that I gave out.
Mhm.
Those, fill this out. When this is filled out, that's your meal ticket.
So with the meal ticket, are they going to a different room, or is it to hand to get the pizza, to get the food?
You got it. You fill this out with your name, number, address, and the way to contact you, and give that back to Victor, and he'll make sure that you can get some food. That is your meal ticket.
That's genius. And then the food, you say just pizza. And these homes like just pepperoni and cheese.
Yeah, it could be pepperoni and cheese. You could do something like Subway and get like the 80 foot long sandwiches or something like that. But generally for about $80, you can fill something like that. It doesn't have to be a whole ton of food. And most of them are pickers anyways. They're not going to go in there and get 8 slices of pizza. Like if you get a 12-inch sub and they cut it into 4s, like usually that could feed 4 people because they're only eating like 1/4 of that sandwich. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Does your so let's say if you say, all right, this event is scheduled for 1 o'clock. What time are you talking? Are you talking at 1 o'clock? You talking at 1:15?
I'm talking at 1:05. The doors close.
Doors closed.
Doors close.
Okay, that might answer my next question of how do you deal with like latecomers?
They ain't getting in. Well, I mean, they can get in, but it's like, I'm a showman at heart. So when someone comes in late, I'm like, oh, you just here for the food. You can go ahead and sit down, but you got to fill that out before you talk to me. You know what I mean? Like I make them feel awkward for being late, in a funny way. That makes sense?
Okay. Yeah.
I don't, but I'm a showman at heart. If someone shows up late, I'm not going to be that mad at it. I want them there for the presentation, but that meal ticket is important because if they can't show me they were there for the whole presentation, they didn't fill out that meal ticket, then they're not getting food.
Okay.
And I set that stage early. So like, hey, you got these. Make sure, does everybody have one? Because if you don't now, you ain't gonna be able to eat. Like this is your meal ticket. You got to fill this out.
So will you just potentially miss that sale? So somebody just comes in for whatever reason, they bust from dialysis, not dialysis, but from the doctor that got there a little late. Like, do you somehow talk to them one-on-one and give them a meal ticket, or how you want to try to get that sale?
Well, again, we're not doing food until after the presentation. So if they come in late, they still have time to fill it out. But do I miss out on a sale? Maybe, but I haven't really run into that problem much, if that makes sense. So it's hard for me to tell you exactly what to do in that situation.
You putting flyers on every door? How are you handling the flyers?
I go make a bunch of flyers. I tell the person that's running the thing, I say, hey, I've made these. Can you put these in every door? Or do you want me to go around and put them in every door? And they'll say, yeah, go run it up.
Places have asked about like, are you able to do it outside? We've closed off our inside facility or something like that. What's your perspective on that?
Yep.
Are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
You owned it a pavilion or something like that, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, where do you want me to do it? Okay, we can do it outside. Is there a space for us outside to do it? Absolutely.
Okay.
As long as, look, if they saying yes, I'm getting in. I don't care if it's inside, outside, peanut butter jelly. We getting this done.
Appreciate it, Matt.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Anyone else have any questions? Well, we have Matt.
About how long is your presentation usually?
20 minutes. About 20 minutes. That's
Thank
it.
you.
And speaking of the presentation, sound like that you're just warming them up with the easy trivia questions, touching on term life, touching on whole life. Sound like you also talk about universal life.
I get them to ask, I get them to try to answer what universal life is. And when they get stumped, that's my transition into education.
Okay.
That makes sense.
What you do,
So,
yeah, for the universal life part, but you do explain like term life and whole life.
correct. I go back and
Okay.
I say, this is how universal life works, but this is really how whole life works. Like, you guys had good ideas. It is good for your whole life, but did you know that it builds cash value? Did you know that you could do a reduced paid up? Did you know that if you've had it for over a certain amount of years, that there's, some other strategies that you may not know about? Did you know that if you borrow money on your policy, that there's a potential that you could lose that policy because of interest and loans? Making those things really stick in their mind of things that could happen to their policies, and saying, these are things that happen to people. I had a lady 60 or 72 years of age. Anybody close to that age? And they're, oh yeah, I'm 71. She had her policy for 15 years. Great policy. Had it 15 years. She borrowed one time on her policy $1,000, and by the time that she was 73, she would have had no policy at all. How fair is that? And they're like, oh, that's the worst thing in the world. I know. You need to make sure that's not going to happen with your policy, but you need to know the questions to ask. Luckily for you, I know exactly how to ask those questions to the insurance carrier.
I'm glad to, because my next question was going to be like, because that sort of answers it. Like, what type of scary things do you say that make them be like, oh, such and such? Like, obviously that's one. Is there anything else that you say to kind of like scare them into a policy review?
How term works. You should be worried if your premium has ever gone up in the last 15 years. You should be really worried if you've borrowed any money on your policy at all. You should be significantly worried if you get a letter from your company once a year with a statement.
Okay. So after you touch on those three and, tell that little story, anything else in the presentation that to get their attention, get them a little more anticipating the policy review?
Nope. But it.
Okay.
I wish I could just do one live because I would crush it. Gosh, I missed it. Where you at, Jordan? I might have you book one. I'll just come out and do it with you.
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh man, I'm about to fly in. That's a direct flight. Come on.
Where
Book
you
one
at?
up. I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina. Book one up in Atlanta. I'll fly in.
Hey, ain't no problem. Like I told you, my sister, she got like 15 going. I've been just sending email. I'm shoot an email out and then stop by. That's no issue at all.
Will you come to New Jersey?
No.
Man, even if there's mac and cheese?
Maybe.
Okay.
And maybe if there's mac and cheese.
Florida?
I'll stop in for the mac and cheese.
Come to Florida?
See now everybody see it. You give out a little bit of cash, right? You give out some juice, and then everybody starts raising their hands. See the psychology behind that, everybody? That's good stuff. I'm gonna figure out a way to make it work where I can travel out to somebody or a couple people and do it live with you. But you'll have to do everything. You'll have to set everything up. The place, the time, making sure the room is filled, because I don't want to walk in there and 3 people be out there. I'll be looking like an idiot. But making sure it's filled up, and I might walk in there and just close it with you and split the business.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
I got you.
All right. Anyone else have any questions?
I had a question.
Yep.
Is there another call coming up with Sandra that you know about?
Yeah. Tonight, 7:00. Me and Sandra, we are going to be in the metaverse. We're going to be
I
doing
know
the
it.
first VR insurance workshop tonight.
Who's all going to that?
In this group, I don't know off the top of my
I'm
head.
going.
Sandra has a
Nate, are
has a
you
list.
going? Say yes.
Yes.
But
Okay, Kathy,
did
you
we
going?
have to have the headset to go to your thing?
No, so
Oh.
that's the great thing about it is you do not need a Oculus to partake in it. You'll show up kind of exactly like the Zoom call, but you'll be
Okay.
in a virtual setting. So while
Okay.
we'll see you on a Zoom call and see your face, you will see Sandra's digital avatar, and most likely you'll see my digital avatar
Okay.
and whoever
Okay,
else has
so-
Oculus.
And so where is the link to join that? Is that,
It's pinned as the top post on my personal page, but I'll put it as a post within the Insurance Growth Workshops group for everyone as well.
okay, great.
If there's a possibility that you want me to come out and do a senior presentation with you, you better be at that dang call.
Nice.
If I'm not saying I'm gonna do it if you go, but I'm saying
Okay.
if I do choose you to go and I ask Victor if you're there and you ain't there, ain't no chance I'm coming out to see you.
Okay.
So if you're on this call and there's a possibility that you want me to come do that, you better be on that dang call. That's all
Yeah,
I'm saying.
I just thought we had to have the
No,
headset.
you're
That's
good.
why I
I'm glad.
wasn't
That's
gonna
why.
go.
That's why I asked the question.
Yeah,
Good.
no headset needed. Just
Okay.
a camera and a link, and you'll be able to get in. Obviously,
And what
if you have an Oculus, get on with the Oculus so we can see your digital avatar, and you could partake in a little bit more meaningful manner as far as like the capabilities you have within it. As far as like having Blackboard accessibility and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you don't have one, you can still join. So we'll have that. I'll put that in the Insurance Growth Workshops group.
Another
Okay, great.
question.
Yep.
It's another question. Joe, I can't say your last name. Archiga.
Archiga.
I appreciate you. Thank you for the nice comment. That wasn't a question. It was just a statement. Thank you.
And then Travis, do you have to have an NFT? You do not need to have an NFT, but if you want to transfer me an NFT, I'll accept it. All right. Well, anyone have any other questions? No. If not, cool. I do want to announce two things real quick. Number one, if you guys enjoyed this workshop and you think Matt knows what he's talking about, please make sure that you like this page, the Insurance Growth Workshops page, so that we could continue putting out free workshops for you guys like this. In the future, we're going to try to have them every single week for you guys, and also bring in, if you have a downline and upline, friends that are in the industry, send them over to the page, have them like it so that they can also have access to this as well. Also, Matt is going to be one of the keynote speakers. We're having a workshop in Austin, Texas on January 15th. That'll be in person. Right now, the tickets are $500. For anyone who attended this call, I'm going to put a link in the comments right now for $299. So if you sign up and you're a part of this call, you'll get it for $200 off. And that'll be in Austin, Texas on January 15th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to have a ton of great speakers. We're going to have Matt there. We're going to have Sandra Gebhardt, Tony Merwin, Brad Hannon, Joe, David, and Sam Campert, Elle Denning, Olivia Appleberry. Like it's gonna be insane. So for $300, it's impossible not to walk out of there and make it a return on your investment. So
Will there be food?
And there will be food. And from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we're gonna have a networking happy hour at Majori's, and that'll be from 4 to 5. So that's gonna be really cool. Everyone can connect. We can network together. Maybe grab a drink if you drink. There will be food there as well. We're catering barbecue, which is Tony's choice, so it's got to be good. And then we'll be having a night out on the town afterwards. So it's going to be a really, really great experience. So I look forward to anyone who wants to join. If you have more questions on it, let me know. If you want to check out the website, insurancegrowthworkshops.com, all the information will be on there. But definitely use this link to get $200 off if you want to attend that.
Will this the recording that we just did, this seminar that you just did, right? Is this available to rewatch anywhere?
Yeah, so this is being recorded. So as soon as it's done uploading, I'll have it put onto the page for replay.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna let everyone get back to the rest of their day and have a great December. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Matt. You did a great job, man.
Gang, gang.
Thank you, guys.